Tomorrow a judge will ask if I stole a dead woman's voice, or if I'm the only one who heard it. He said, "You had no right to open that box." I said, "Did the right belong to the ones who sold her necklace while she was alive?" Metal on my tongue. Key 317 biting my palm. Vault air cold as an honest answer. My name is April Lawson, 34. Archivist April at Travis County Records in Austin, Texas. My role, granddaughter of May Whitaker, the woman who taught me to trust paper more than promises. My mother, Denise Lawson, is the careful mother who keeps neat tables and messy facts. My father, Mark Lawson, is the business father who measures minutes but never motives. My sister, Serena Lawson, is the golden sister who polishes captions and receipts alike. After the funeral, attorney Victor Salazar said, "April Lawson, 10 o'clock tomorrow." His office smelled like lemon polish and law. 3 folders waited. Will, everything to me, capacity, 2 physicians confirm a clear mind, visitor logs, who came and what they asked. Next to my name, zeros. Brings books, fixes lamp, asks for nothing. My phone lit, Serena. Split it and we're family. Don't, and you're the enemy. I killed the sound. In the bank vault, key 317 turned stiffly. Inside, May's red notebook, a smaller key, an envelope marked April, open only under threat. I put the envelope back. Patience is proof too. The notebook listed sums beside Denise, Mark, and Serena. Beside April, notes without amounts. The small key opened a thin packet. Museum catalog page and a receipt. Serena had consigned the heirloom necklace last year. Serial numbers matched. The date matched her Barcelona posts. The deposit matched her bank day. Tomorrow they'll chant verbal wish. Manipulation. Family is everything. I'll answer paper trail. Checks, emails, door logs, my work calendars, witness videos. At Victor's conference table we sat opposed. Serena the accuser, Denise with a dry handkerchief, Mark staring into water. Victor tapped the line that hurts them most. Only one row is 0 April. I opened the envelope at home. A flash drive and 1 sentence in May's hand. If they come for your name, go for the facts. On video, May look straight ahead. This is my choice. I'm not punishing. I'm acknowledging. April loved me without a ledger. In the hallway a hush rustled. Someone brushed the peephole with a fingertip. The move of people who know lenses. I pressed my back to the door and felt key 317 warm against my skin. Tomorrow the clerk will call. In the matter of the estate of May Whitaker. And the air will thicken. I stacked the blue seal letter, the flash drive, the notebook, my badge. A whisper slid under the door like a turned page. April. I didn't open. The silence rose like in a reading room before a verdict. By morning I'll have only 2 things left. Documents, and quiet that speaks louder than tears. The doorbell pulsed twice and went dead, like a heart that changed its mind. I gripped key 317 and thought, if I open this door, whoever stands there will try to take something that isn't a thing, my name. Morning. Probate court. Judge Miriam Castillo. I am April Lawson, 34. Archivist April, granddaughter of May Whitaker. Roles fixed so no one gets lost. Denise Lawson, careful mother who files feelings like receipts. Mark Lawson, business father who negotiates before he asks if he's right. Serena Lawson, golden sister who saves promises for captions. Attorney Victor Salazar is our calm stone. I carried May's red notebook, the flash drive, the blue seal letter, my badge. Opposing counsel cried undue influence and waved holiday photos. Judge Castillo wrote dates, not tears. I answered cleanly. Tuesdays and Saturdays, soup and paperwork, never asked for money. Proof over promise. Victor handed up the consignment receipt. The serial matched the museum page. The deposit matched Serena's Barcelona day. Denise murmured temporary. Mark asked for a recess. Serena's bracelet clicked. They produced an equal split letter, found by Mrs. Harvey. On screen it lacked May's tells. The tiny hat on M, the crossbar on 7s, her hurried ampersand. Victor projected May's real lines beside the gray page. The judge's pen stopped. I submitted the blue seal letter and the flash drive. May's voice filled the room. I decided when the lights were on and the coffee strong. Timestamp to her cognition exam. Objections swatted like flies. Records delivered a clear bag. An earlier equal split note county stamped void 2 years ago. Replaced and logged. The bag label bore a hand I knew too well. Denise Lawson. For the first time Mark looked at me, not through me. The judge drew breath to tip the table when Serena shot to her feet. She forged the video. And in that instant Denise's hand slid a folded gray sheet toward the edge, a last weapon. The paper hung by one corner over the floor. "Ms. Lawson, do not move," the judge said. The bailiff stepped forward. The fluorescent hum separated from the silence. The page trembled and froze. "Tomorrow someone will ask about a printer, and someone will lose a memory but not the logs." The gray sheet quivered on the table's edge like it was deciding which truth to fall toward. The bailiff sleeved it. Under the lamp the toner flashed fresh. "I am April Lawson, 34, archivist April, roles fixed. Denise Lawson, careful mother who edits truth. Mark Lawson, business father with more schedules than conscience. Serena Lawson, golden sister who curates promises." Victor put a split screen up. A genuine May memo with dotted dates beside a county-voided equal split draft from 2 years back. The new gray page copied phrases but missed May's habits. No hat on M, clean sevens without crossbars. A spelled out and where she always scribbled and. The judge's pen stilled. The air chose a side. Opposing counsel tried to pivot, even if capacity, and Judge Castillo cut him with a palm. Preservation order now. Denise and Serena's devices and printers to be imaged by 5. Denise looked at her purse like it had teeth. Serena stared at the receipt paired with Barcelona. Timestamps rhymed too neatly to be chance. When court recessed to 10 m. Tomorrow, Serena exhaled into a smile and posted in the hallway. Victor said, "Screenshot and mute. We mapped the next blows. Boutique cameras, Denise's printer spools, IP traces for the deposit day." At my door a thin envelope waited. An overly perfect copy of the blue seal letter and a post-it. "Facts are editable." Still smelling of cheap citrus. A faint toner ring haloed my lock. Mr. Lin, my neighbor with the doorbell camera, sent a clip. Gray hoodie at 7:08, fingertip over my peephole, the lens knowers tell. I bagged a wrong twin key I found on my counter. Same cut as 317, no stamp, and wrote the time. My phone jolted. Bank alert. Attempted access denied. Box 317, 7:11 p.m. The vault manager said someone presented a photocopied power of attorney naming Denise before the signature check. Missing the county's blue seal, the right notary, even the font. I wrote P.O. bad. Mark texted. "If you won't leave, call me every hour." Not an apology, no longer just a schedule. In the lobby Mark handed me a brown envelope. An ATM slip from Serena's consignment deposit day. A caption draft about promises kept. A printer repair receipt tagged to Denise's address. He said, "I'm not asking you to spare her. I'm asking you to keep breathing." The glass door pulled in Serena, citrus and sugar. Phone low like a microphone. "Facts are only as good as the people who carry them," Serena said. "Check your vault again." Upstairs a museum catalog slid under my door. Page clipped to the necklace entry. A slanted note in the margin. Vault 7:45 a.m. I packed court day 2 badge, flash drive, red notebook, receipts, the gray key in a bag. The catalog with its paperclip. 3 alarms. Another ping from the bank. The would-be visitor used my mother's name. The clerk found a small gray key under the counter. No stamp, familiar teeth. I looked at the twin lying on my table. 2 metal silhouettes, 2 versions of the same lie. I set key 317 in my pocket and listened to the hallway. Somewhere below, a hand tapped my building's intercom twice, then canceled the call on the last fraction of a second. Tomorrow at 7:45 a.m. Someone will try a copied key on a life they never lived. I reached the bank before opening. Key 317 warming my palm through the fabric of my coat. Museum catalog with the bent paperclip in my bag like a breadcrumb someone else dropped for me. I'm April Lawson, 34, archivist April at Travis County Records. Roles stay fixed so no one plays lost. Denise Lawson, careful mother who edits truth. Mark Lawson, business father learning the difference between schedule and conscience. Serena Lawson, golden sister who curates promises and sells proof. Attorney Victor Salazar, our calm stone. Judge Miriam Castillo, the eyes that turn noise into order. Vault manager met me with a nod that meant more than hello. Vault manager said, 2 keys presented last night, Ms. Lawson, one without a stamp, one with teeth polished thin. ID used your mother's name. Security rolled footage. A gray hoodie at 7:08. A slim wrist laying down a photocopied power of attorney. The corner of a gray tote stamped with the same boutique logo that sits in my notes. When the clerk pushed the page back, a small gray key slipped loose and fell, vanishing under the counter. Cheap metal, wrong shape, right intent. We logged it, then walked past 2 doors that sounded like decisions. Box 317 faced me. I set my stamp key beside the bag twin for the camera, then turned mine. Inside. May's red notebook where ink is steadier than memory, a thin blue-edged envelope I'd missed, and a label maker card that read April Lawson like I was a folder to be filed. The blue-edged envelope held a county-stamped revocation of all prior powers of attorney, 6 months old, notarized clean. Under it, in May Whitaker's tidy hand, Denise asked for power. I chose to power April with records instead. The paper smelled like it had been waiting. Security switched angles. Behind the hoodie, a second figure hovered, citrus-sweet perfume. Phone low like a microphone. Serena Lawson's bracelet flashed once as she scratched her wrist. Microhook. The camera caught that bracelet again, reflected in the plexiglass at the moment the clerk refused the POA. I signed chain of custody forms, slid a copy into my court, day 2 folder, and checked the clock. 8:06. Court at 10. Unknown number buzzed my phone with a photo of my apartment door and a caption. You forgot something. I forwarded it to Victor and to Mr. Lin, neighbor with the doorbell camera in 4B. Victor texted. Straight to court. I'll meet you on the steps. The courthouse steps smelled like burned espresso and new paint. Mark Lawson waited with a cup he didn't drink. Mark said, Your mother is with counsel. I said. And you? Mark said. With the record, and handed me a paper. His own timeline of withdrawals and calls around the necklace sale. Inside, opposing counsel opened with ache. Victor opened with dates. The bank clerk testified in clean, small sentences. The blue seal revocation glowed under the projector. The judge raised one eyebrow at the notary block like it had answered a question she hadn't asked yet. Mrs. Harvey followed, the purse clutched. She admitted owning the same printer model as Denise because Denise recommended it. The judge wrote 2 words I couldn't see and capped her pen. The boutique manager entered with a clear binder. Intake forms, consignment signatures, serial marks, mirror stills of Serena with the necklace before she handed it over. Timestamps rhymed with Barcelona. The internet keeps rhythm better than memory, Victor said. Move to admit. The court did. Opposing counsel asked for a recess large enough to learn new math. Denied. My phone face down trembled with another door photo, closer angle, caption. Soon. I slid it beneath the folder. Judge Castillo leaned forward. Judge Castillo said, No credible evidence of undue influence. Capacity and consistent intent are supported by the record. Temporary orders remain in favor of Ms. Lawson pending final judgment. Further attempts to introduce unauthenticated writings will invite sanctions. No gavel. Just the weight of paper. In the hall, Serena stared at the rail like it could balance her. Denise stared past me like the wall had mercy. Mark said nothing, and it was better than anything he used to say. Victor whispered. Next, printers, spools, and IP. Hold steady. Outside, a rideshare idled. Serena sat in back, eyes on Mark, lips moving like a prayer without belief. Hazard lights blinked twice. The car slid away. I walked home with the revocation, the binder copy, and the label card zipped beneath my coat. Key 317 counting steps in my palm. At my door. Nothing torn, nothing loud. Just a new paperclip bent into a crooked heart resting on the doormat like a soft threat. I bagged it, logged the time, and waited for the knock that didn't come. Cold ending. The only thing that moved was the red recording light on Mr. Lin's camera, and even that kept its distance. Tomorrow at noon they'll offer apology for equity and call it peace. Morning felt like the courthouse had watched us sleep. I am April Lawson, 34, archivist April. Rolls unblinking. Denise Lawson, careful mother whose feelings now live inside exhibits. Mark Lawson, business father sitting on the side with the clock and letting it tick. Serena Lawson, golden sister who thinks captions can cross-examine facts. Victor Salazar, calm stone. Judge Miriam Castillo, meter of weight and truth. At 9:40, a junior associate approached with a smile rehearsed in a mirror. The associate said, 50-50 and we end the noise. I said, no forgery then? The elevator hummed its answer. In court, the boutique manager's binder turned pages like doors. Serena identified, necklace identified, mirror selfie identified, receipts don't blush. Vault manager testified next. Attempted access, photocopied POA naming Denise, missing blue county seal, wrong notary line, gray key recovered under the counter. The forensic tech projected printer spools. 3 tiny black dots marked the margin. The fuser's fingerprint unique to Denise's machine. A trail of specks no apology can sweep. The judge leaned back then forward. Opposing counsel reached for feelings. Recipes, sweaters, family plan. Victor let them finish and lifted one sentence from May's red notebook without flourish. Fair is honest. Promise is wind. Serena's jaw clicked like a cheap clasp. Denise's hand stilled on a purse that had run out of pockets. Mark stared at the floor the way people do when they finally see the ground. Lunch recess tasted like coffee that remembered to be hot. Mrs. Harvey waited by the planter lilies. Mrs. Harvey said, "I only wanted them to share." I said, "You shared a printer model." Her face folded along its score lines. Back in court, Victor asked for sanctions and a protective order. Granted for now, sanctions reserved. When Victor called Mark, he stood with a page that shook once, then not at all. Mark Lawson said, "I signed nothing. I regret plenty," and described the printer repair slip, the ATM day, the caption draft about promises kept. He looked at me, not past me. The clerk's phone pinged. The bailiff walked it to the bench. The judge read Serena's new post and said one word, "Delete." It took longer to vanish than it took to appear. We closed with the revocations blue seal and May's clean notary block. Her voice had already entered the record, but the signature felt like a steady hand on my shoulder. Judge Castillo said she would rule at 9:30 tomorrow. In the hall, Victor's paralegal slipped me an envelope from records, footage stills of Denise and Serena tailing me last month from the archives to the care home. The timestamps aligned with withdrawals that never reached May's room. Home was quiet until it wasn't. A small square box sat on my kitchen table wrapped in brown paper. No return address. Inside, a tape recorder and Mark's block letter note. Check Grandma's Tuesday folder. I opened the folder on my laptop and found a clip mislabeled as test. May's voice bright as morning. "If they shout about love, look for their receipts." The clip ended with the soft set down of a chess piece. I set alarms for 7 o'clock, 7:10, 7:20 and fell asleep in the clothes that know the courthouse benches best. Microhook, at 3:07 a.m. Mr. Lynn's camera caught a gray shoulder near my door. At 3:12 a rideshare receipt subpoenaed, marked a drop on my block with Denise Lawson's email. At 7 o'clock the city woke like a low engine. I put key 317 in my pocket, and the crooked paperclip on my counter. I left the recorder on the table playing silence. Cold ending. The elevator doors opened to a handwritten sign, "Out of service," even though I heard it run all night. At 9:30 a.m. court will turn everything we fed it into a single sentence. The courthouse windows reflected a pale sheet of sky that looked like paper before ink. I'm April Lawson, 34, archivist April, granddaughter of May Whitaker. Roll steady. Denise Lawson, careful mother under a county hold. Mark Lawson, business father who brings me envelopes instead of advice. Serena Lawson, golden sister quiet for once where captions used to shout. Victor Salazar, calm stone. Judge Miriam Castillo, the room's balance. The ruling arrived in measured clauses. The will valid, capacity affirmed, objections denied. Costs apportioned to the objectors. Distribution according to May Whitaker's will. House, accounts, remaining property to her granddaughter, Ms. April Lawson. My name sounded like it belonged to me because paper said so. The judge added a hold on devices and printers until the forgery inquiry closed. Silence fell like a gavel never needs to. A reporter asked for my side. I said, "The record is my side," and walked past the coffee cart that finally fixed its burn. The last strike came the way family strikes when crowds go home. Quiet, personal, timed for the moment between relief and rest. My lobby smelled of warm plastic. The elevator froze with its cone. I took the stairs 2 at a time. My door key turned, the lock felt sandy. Inside, everything looked right until the baseboard glinted with a faint gray seam. One drawer sat a breath open. The bag holding the wrong twin key was sliced open along a careful line. The twin itself was gone. On the counter under the lamp lay a page, my own screenshot of Serena's deleted post, Printed and underlined in red. A new handwritten note across it. Screenshots aren't truth. I photographed desk drawer page called Victor, then the police. The officer wrote down tools and times and left a card. A soft knock followed. Mark Lawson stood with a suitcase light enough to carry for a long time. Mark said, "She's leaving for a while." And didn't say Denise. He set the suitcase down and put both hands in his pockets like a man trying out honesty. Mr. Lin opened his door across the hall and raised a Tupperware. Mr. Lin said, "Strawberry jelly. Congratulations." I laughed once and didn't cry. That afternoon Victor and I returned to the care home to settle accounts. I left the bent heart-shaped paperclip on May's favorite sill. The administrator nodded the way people nod when mercy is tidy and paid. Near sunset the museum called. A curator asking whether the family wished to loan 2 small pieces May once circled in their catalog. I said yes after the locks were changed. The locksmith arrived at 9, set my old cylinder on the counter, and shook a crescent of gray toner from its throat like a poor man's confetti. He replaced everything and handed me 2 new stamp keys. I slid them onto a ring with 317 and felt the weight balance out. Cold ending. The apartment quieted until the refrigerator click sounded like a chess clock moving to my turn. Tomorrow is not a hearing. It's a list of promises I owe to a woman who believed sugar belongs without chips and love without ledgers. I woke into ordinary, grocery list half written, a voicemail about spare keys, a calendar ping that still says chess, sugar cookies, and somehow it steadied me more than any speech. I'm April Lawson, 34, archivist April, roles reshaped by the record. Denise Lawson, careful mother answering to the county rather than to me. Mark Lawson, business father who now files his own timeline. Serena Lawson, golden sister silent long enough for the room to breathe. Victor Salazar, calm stone who texts only when it matters. I met the locksmith and cut 2 spares I won't lend. I went to the bank, signed distribution documents with a pen that didn't shake. Vault manager congratulated me with his eyebrows. We inventoried box 317 like a story. Blue-edged revocation, red notebook, museum page, receipts. I added one new thing. A printed transcript of May's video filed behind the revocation, because words spoken deserve a shelf. On the walk home I passed the boutique. The manager had placed a tiny placard in the window. "We don't consign promises." It almost made me smile. In the lobby, Mark stood by the mailboxes with a stack of papers that looked lighter than yesterday. Mark said, "I started a folder. For me." He didn't ask to come up. He said, "I will pay my share when sanctions land." I said, "Thank you." The elevator talked so we didn't have to. At the museum, the curator showed me pencil ticks May left in their catalog beside pieces she loved. We signed a loan for 2 small objects with long stories. I printed my name without apology. Evening brought the visit I didn't schedule. Across the street, Denise Lawson stood in a thin sweater. No purse, no folder, as if lighter made better. She didn't cross. She let a rideshare slow and waved it on. She left on foot. Some endings don't need doors. I baked sugar cookies the way May taught me. No chocolate to steal the point of sugar. The apartment smelled like the first line of her recipe card. While they cooled, I wrote 3 letters. To the care home staff with thanks, to the court clerk with updated contact, to Victor with 1 sentence. "Tell me when the county closes the forgery inquiry." He replied, "Will do. Rest." At 9:13 a.m. final text arrived from an unknown number. A photo of a chessboard mid-game, caption "Your move." It was May's favorite trap if you missed the bishop hiding in plain sight. I didn't answer. I set the phone face down, left 3 cookies on a plate, and put the rest in a tin. I laid the bent paperclip beside the tin, slid key 317 onto the new ring with my fresh apartment keys, and set them where morning light always finds the table. Cold ending. Quiet is not a trophy, it's a room you keep, and tonight, for the first time in a long time, the lock clicked once and stayed a lock. From which city are you listening to Revenge Vale? Tell me in the comments, it really helps the channel grow.